everybody, this is The Umbrella Mouse by Anna Fargher, and we are all the way up to chapter 5. So make sure you're nice and comfy, make sure you've got your cosy jumper or your blanket, and get all snuggled up, ready for a lovely story. Chapter 5, The Underground. Dickon bounded forward, zigzagging around the splintered wood, pummelled bricks and broken glass, now gathered in heaps at the foot of blasted buildings along Bloomsbury Street. Tightly clutching the scruff of his neck, Pip tearfully looked over her shoulder for one last glimpse at the remains of the umbrella shop. Leaving it behind felt as unnatural and terrifying as if she was losing the whiskers on her cheeks or the ears on her head. She had never known a moment without Mama and Papa or the shop, and as Dickon raced past the enormous charred black skeleton of the number 8 bus in the middle of the road, Pip felt haunted by the flames that had flickered around the people inside. Dickon forked sharply right onto Tottenham Court Road and ran headlong into a flurry of people on their morning walk to work. Startled, the terrier suddenly darted between a young woman's legs. Shrieking in alarm, she fell to the pavement with a thump, sending a nearby newspaper stand tumbling onto its side. A tall pile of papers with Hitler's Vengeance printed in thick black letters across the top, scattered across the pavement. People gasped and helped the woman to her feet as Dickon galloped past them down a steep flight of stairs leading to the underground. He raced across the ticketing hall to a closed door. Pip scrunched up her eyes and tightened her grip on Dickon's fur, waiting for the dog's body to crumple against the timber. But at the last moment, Dickon leapt upwards and threw all his weight into his front paws. The door burst open and instantly swung closed behind them. Without a moment's hesitation, Dickon hurried down the spiralling metal staircase in front of them. Warm, stuffy air struck them in the face, as if they were passing through a veil of cobwebs, and a long-winded screech cried in the distance, followed by a gust of wind. At the bottom of the stairs, Dickon doubled back and scurried beneath the bottom steps. A greasy black metal grate sat by the foot of a wall, covered in grubby cream tiles. Briefly dropping the umbrella on the ground, Dickon lifted the corner of the grate with his teeth and awkwardly pushed himself, Pip, and the umbrella inside. "Blimey!" Dickon panted in the stuffy gloom, gently placing the umbrella on the narrow metal floor. "A chicken could lay hard-boiled eggs in here." "Where are we going?" Pip said, a mixture of fear and excitement turning somersaults in her chest. "Don't worry, it ain't much further now," he said, glancing back over his shoulder and giving her a reassuring wink. Nudging the umbrella with his nose, the terrier shuffled on his stomach along the narrow vent which disappeared in a steep, dark descent just ahead. "Hang on tight," he said, his eyes twinkling in the dark half-light. "Here we go." They plunged into the darkness, scrunching up her eyes. Pip let out a little yelp, feeling her whiskers pulling on her face with the force of the fall, reaching the bottom with a bump, but allowing no time for himself or the little mouse on his back to catch their breath. Dickon snapped the umbrella between his teeth and sprinted along train tracks, glinting through the shadow of a tall, domed brick tunnel. A few paces later he came to a stop beside an amber glow coming from a small hole where a number of bricks were missing from the wall. Distant chatter floated through the gap. "All right, mate," he panted, speaking quickly and dropping the umbrella to the ground. "Get down and go inside." As Pip carefully clambered down from the terrier's neck to the cold, dusty earth by his front paws, a high-pitched screech sounded in the distance behind them. With it, a warm breeze started collecting around her whiskers. "Where are we?" she said, peering into the opening. "What's in there?" "That's St. Giles," Dickon said, quickly bristling with impatience as Pip watched a puddle shimmering in the glow from the wall. Suddenly, a low growl rumbled in the dog's throat and his ears drew back angrily on his head. "Come on, mate, we haven't got all day." His gruff and insistent bark loudly reverberated in the tunnel. Leaping in surprise, Pip looked up at him with a scowl. It was then that she understood why he was angry. Behind the terrier, 2 tiny white dots were growing larger and larger in the tunnel. The domed ceiling was becoming brighter, and the ground beneath her paws was beginning to shake. Pip shuddered. A vast, wide, open jaw of light was greedily swallowing the gloom and storming along the train tracks towards them. "Hurry up!" Dickon barked again, snatching the umbrella between his teeth and jumping up after Pip as she rushed through the hole. A clang sounded as the terrier stumbled to a standstill. "Come on," Pip said, feeling the tremors of the approaching train quake her little body. "Hurry!" Leaping forward once more, Dickon snarled in frustration. Again he tried, but it was hopeless. He could not push himself and the umbrella inside. "Quick!" Pip cried, helplessly watching him falter as the world now thrashed wildly from side to side. She gasped in horror. A white halo of light was quickly glowing brighter around her only friend in the world, carrying everything she had. "Dickon!" But the terrible screech of the wheels racing across metal drowned out her yell. Wide-eyed with terror, the terrier turned and faced the oncoming light. At that moment, the silver tip of the umbrella slipped through the opening. Without thinking, Pip threw her paws around it and pulled with all her strength, just as Dickon hurled himself and the umbrella inside. Colliding, they tumbled across the ground and landed in a heap inside the opening in the wall. The train thundered past and disappeared, leaving the dog and the mouse lying petrified, side by side, panting with terror and relief. "Are you all right?" Dickon said, clambering unsteadily to 4 paws. He shook the fright from the tip of his nose to the end of his tail. The little mouse didn't stir. "Can you hear me, love? Are you okay?" "No, I'm not all right," said Pip, her lips trembling. "I want to go home." "Wherever you are in this world now, mate, you're home," Dickon said frankly, as he tenderly nudged her to her paws with his nose. "Come on, let's get you and this bleeding umbrella to Gignizzy or wherever it is." "Gignees," Pip said firmly, correcting him in the same bossy way Mama used to when she said something wrong. "My new home is inside the Umbrella Museum in Gignees." "Right," Dickon said, with his tongue lolling out of his mouth in a smile. "That's just what I said."